Well, hey everybody. So, I was about 15 years old when Home Alone premiered in theaters. I remember going, I think with my brother and our friends. We watched the original, and then I think 2 years later, we started watching part two. I've seen both films countless times during my yearly viewings around the holiday, and even though I know the films inside and out, I still have questions 34 years later. So, I brought a bunch of Christmas and film aficionados to help me answer 7 questions that I still have after watching Home Alone and Home Alone 2. So, with that being said, welcome everybody to the Christmas Summit podcast.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. What's up? What's up? Hello. Hello.
So we will, let me introduce everybody. We have someone still coming. Hopefully he'll join us here in a second. But so first up is Chad and Seth from the Christmas Cousins podcast. It's a podcast that hasn't gotten sick of me yet, possibly because I helped cousin Seth realize that he didn't have a Snoopy tattoo on his back, but maybe Snoopy's brother Spike. Todd, if you haven't heard that episode, you have to go watch that. Chad is guiding his cousin through the Christmas experience, and tonight we get to introduce him to Home Alone 2, because apparently he has not seen that one. So, welcome, Chad and Seth. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. And congrats on having the budget to cover our appearance fee for both of us in the initial show. That is not cheap. So kudos to you. I don't know who your backers are, but this is impressive. I'm impressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Well, thanks for joining me last minute. Next to those guys is one of the OG Christmas podcasters, Todd from Christmas Clatter. Last year, and here's a funny story, I tried to convince Todd that the Christmas song, "What Do You Get, a Wookiee for Christmas?" when he already owns a comb, should be on his Essential Christmas playlist. But unfortunately, I think Todd ignored me, or he was just humoring me, and I don't think I convinced him. Is that right, Todd?
Well, I didn't ignore you. I replied to all your comments, and then towards the closer to Christmas, you just started getting a thumbs up, and I did give it a listen. I did give it a listen to see if it qualified, but
Apparently
didn't quite make the cut. Yeah.
Maybe that, if you guys haven't heard that song, it's a Star Wars song. It's all about Christmas. It's all about trying to figure out what we get a Wookiee for Christmas. And if he already has a comb, what else do you get him?
Right.
That's the whole point of the song. It's a brilliant song, and unfortunately, Todd just didn't agree with me.
Sometimes genius isn't recognized during the artist's lifetime. That afterwards, posthumously, it will be recognized for the greatness that it is. So, just have to wait 100 years from now.
100 years. Well, maybe if you create a second playlist, we can put it on. So
maybe go to change.org and start a petition or something.
I'm going to do that.
Joe, we will get our 23 million daily listeners to sign it. Don't worry.
That's right. Okay.
I don't know how your listenership is, but we're at 23 million per day, and this is the off season, so it's just how it is, how we roll.
How does your mom listen so many times?
I don't know. It's a long day.
So, we'll introduce our last guest when he finally gets able to join. He says he's running late. He's coming. But so we'll introduce him when he joins. But for the meantime, I actually have some things that I need you guys to help me answer.
Okay.
So we are going to talk about Home Alone, and we are going to figure out questions that I need answered from Home Alone and Home Alone 2. It's been 34 years since the first movie came out, but I still have questions, and I'm sure there's millions of people out there. I mean, if you got 23 million people listening to you guys, I'm sure there's 23 million people at least wanting to know and talk about a 34-year-old movie about a kid who stays home at Christmas because his parents forget about him. So
I'm
Makes
worried, Joe. We're doing Home Alone. I could have sworn you told me Spider-Man: Homecoming. So I watched a completely wrong movie, nothing to do with Christmas.
so
Uh,
which
They're
one?
almost identical storylines. Should be fine.
yeah, so similar.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you can.
Well, just pretend that you know what you're talking about on this one. So,
I always do.
so before we talk about the questions that I have a simple question for each one of you because I think people need to know what your thoughts are on the two movies. So, with that being said, Chad, what is better, Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2?
Home Alone 1 is better. It's the OG, it's the originator. Home Alone 2 doesn't exist without 1. And 2 is good. It stands, but on its own, it doesn't stand up like Home Alone 1 does. So Home Alone 1 is better.
Okay. So, Seth, you said you have never seen Home Alone 2.
Yeah, so I'm going to go on a limb here and say yeah, the first one. Yeah, no, I've never seen it. Not even like little clips or in bits and pieces. Never seen it.
In Home Alone 2, Seth, they whack Fredo on the lake in Lake Tahoe. I don't want to give too much away, but that's what
Okay,
happened.
yeah, nice little twist from the first one.
Totally.
So, Todd, what is your opinion? Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2?
I go Home Alone 1 all the way. Home Alone 2 is a nice sequel, but it is just a sequel. It gives us all those same gags and laughs we had from the first one, but first one's just a whole lot better to me. It checks all the boxes. I'll watch 2, but 1 is preferred.
Okay. And so, if you noticed, he just joined. Andy, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Andy?
Yeah, and I can.
Okay, cool.
Well, Andy.
So, finally, my last guest, I'll introduce him before we ask him some questions about Home Alone. This is Andy. He is from the Comment Lounge podcast. They actually debuted their very first episode today. I sat and
Wow.
watched it on YouTube.
Very
It's
nice.
also available to listen to. Andy is also one of my closest friends from college. We ran Millionaire Playboy, which recently celebrated 21 years since its launch. And this is
Wow.
not the first time Andy and I have been on the air before. When we were in college, we had the greatest radio show ever called the 2-Hour Hump Day Show, which kind of we got in trouble quite a bit, a few times at least. Andy,
But it was a
welcome to the
Wednesday
show.
night,
That's exactly right.
just
It
like
was
tonight.
just like
It's
tonight.
Wednesday night.
Bring it
So-
back.
So maybe
it
I should
back.
call it. Maybe I should call it the 2-Hour Hump Day Christmas Show.
What is a bit you got
That
in
would-
trouble for? I've got to hear. Would you call Tradio and try to sell live chickens or something? What happened?
No, this is the late '90s. We played some South Park songs that were not very well received. We did some things that the college wasn't really fond of. But in reality, it was pretty tame compared to like what goes on these days. But
Right.
we
A
did
dead
get-
horse in the dean's office.
I just remember the radio manager coming in when we were playing the South Park song and just looking at us and just shaking her head like, "Turn that off, turn that off." So Andy, before you guys answer my questions about Home Alone. What is your favorite, Home Alone or Home Alone 2?
It's got to be Home Alone 1. I admire Home Alone 1 for being a great crowd pleaser holiday movie. Like, I remember when it was first advertised, I was like, okay, this will be pretty dumb, but sure, let's go see it. And I remember laughing just so much and being like, you know what? This is a great holiday movie with the family. My folks can watch it. My younger brother can watch it. My cousins can watch it. We can all find something. It's funny. It's fresh. I really liked it. I have to admit, I have not watched Home Alone 2 in at least, let's say, 8 years. So I watched it again last night to kind of get back up on it. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine, but it's like a note-for-note sequel. It's what you expect. Here are the main plot points. Here are the characters. Here is where it's happy. Here is where it's sad. So it was very clearly, let's try to recapture the magic of Home Alone 1 more time. So the original is best.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right. It's almost like they did Home Alone 1 on a green screen, and then they just changed the background, and it was the same notes replayed, and they swapped out the old guy for the crazy bird lady. But
Yes.
well, I hate to break it to you all, but Home Alone 2 is the better movie. So, but
No,
I guess you guys
Wrong.
disagree with me. So, I also, before we start, I don't know if anyone else is drinking their Pepsi. I was gonna have a plain cheese pizza here, but I decided to just stick with the Pepsi. So
Wait,
Joe,
wait. Easy on the fluids, Fulton.
yeah, Joe, when you're on our show, you're boozing heavily. You stay sober for your own show. I feel a little slighted here.
I know. You know what? I haven't had. Truth be told, I haven't had Pepsi probably since I was a teenager. As I don't really drink pop anymore. But yeah, Pepsi is awful. I don't know. For all those people, I'm sure that like Pepsi, that is terrible. Coke is a lot better. So
Seth, do you remember that episode we filmed with Joe at 9 a.m. and he was so drunk from absinthe he started quoting "The Raven" by Edgar Allan Poe?
Right.
Right.
Like getting you to pronounce Pepsi.
Yeah, I feel slighted.
Was he quoting The Raven, or was he quoting Christmas in Handcuffs?
Holiday
It's
in
a good-
handcuffs.
Holiday in Handcuffs. My bad.
There's a lot of similarities, but it might have been both.
I tried to burn you on that one, and I blew it.
Yeah, it did. All right, so
Christmas in hand.
we have to get moving because Chad has to go to bed soon. He's very
That's right.
tired.
And I like to derail shows and make them go later. So Joe's trying to wrangle me.
All right, so my first question for you guys. How long did it take Kevin to clean up the house after stopping the wet bandits from robbing his home?
Oh.
Good question. Seth, you would say he just had his household staff do it, right? And it took him
Yeah,
no time at all.
what does it take to snap your fingers? I'm gonna. Do we have an order for this?
It
It was
doesn't
less
matter.
than 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Obviously,
I mean,
yeah.
what the
It was
wet
at night,
bandits
and then
came over at like 9:30? Is that what they said?
It was 9 o'clock. I thought.
9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And then
and the mom.
how long
the
how long
mom
was that
showed
whole
up.
ordeal?
I would say an hour.
An hour, okay. Then you had to deal with the police. Well, no, he didn't because he
didn't
went
deal with the
back.
police,
Yeah, he
yeah.
didn't have to deal with the police. So that's 10 o'clock. So he could have took 6 hours, been in bed by 4. Mom got home, what, 7? It's daylight outside?
Sounds right.
So I think the problem though is how did he get all that tar off the basement steps? Like that's to me is like the biggest like. How
Well,
did you do that?
well, he didn't clean the whole house because Buzz hollered at him when he went into his room.
Well, that's true.
Right.
That's
Mhm.
true.
Right.
All
He
right.
did not fix the shelves.
Right.
So he just did the parts his parents would see. So,
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. I think you're right. By
Okay.
4 a.m.
I think you know what. I think Todd, you got the best answer. You gave us the best answer. I think he didn't finish. We only see him clean up the micro machines, probably the feathers. You know, he probably
The
put some
paint
salt-
cans.
the paint
Yep.
cans, the salt on the stairs to get the ice to melt, and then eventually I guess the door handle would probably cool down after a while.
Mhm.
So
Right. That's true.
yeah, okay. Well, that was
Wow.
an easy
Good
one.
job, Todd.
All right, Todd.
That's the Christmas Clatter podcast, everybody. I'll take 2 beef and cheddars and a wine glass. Your most recent episode, right? So, or one of no, that's an older one, rather.
Okay, my second question. Do drugstores sell non-ADA approved toothbrushes? And do you look for the ADA seal of approval when you buy yours?
It's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
They do sell non-ADA. They're just in the back in the discount rack. And if you look for the ADA seal of approval, you have to. I mean, that's like, what's it? The smile is the window to your face. Is that what they say? You need the toothpaste, so.
So
Yeah, this is one thing I've never paid attention to. I've seen the ADA seal, but I never
So
look for it. I just grab a
you-
toothbrush I think will work.
Well, that
Do those
actually
new charcoal toothbrushes are they ADA compliant?
Yeah, charcoal with the battery, so they buzz supersonic. You know,
Right.
and just shatter your teeth while you're brushing them. So,
The
No more
fragrance
cavities.
the sink.
so
So
you know,
you're right, Seth. I don't think the charcoal's ADA approved. I don't know. I've been brushing with Lysol lately. I doubt that's not ADA approved, but
yeah.
it's effective. I tell you, it's working fantastic. No more yellowing.
so I just constantly have to get, some dental work. So maybe I'm using the wrong toothbrushes. I think Kevin is showing us something that, we don't pay attention to, is that,
Yeah.
we have to have ADA approved toothbrushes. So I don't know. It was just something I was thought about. It's
Yeah.
like I was watching the movie and I'm like, I didn't realize there was that couldn't be. I figured that toothbrushes had to be, but I guess maybe not.
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
else have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah.
That's why 9 out of 10 dentists approve Home Alone because of
Yeah. And the other one likes Home Alone too.
That's right. The one wrong one, Todd. The one who's wrong.
Yeah.
Don't go to that dentist.
I guess maybe I have to. That's why I have to go to the dentist a lot. I agree. With
He goes to a dentist who loves Godfather 3 the most. So yeah, watch out, Joe.
All right. Any other thoughts? Because we'll go to the next question.
I have no thoughts at all.
Yeah. Kind of nice living that way.
Yeah.
How did Kevin order a pizza when the phone lines were down? Like that was a big part of the movie.
Right.
The phone
Through the
lines
app.
went down so that they could never call him. The next night, he orders a pizza, but the phone lines are still down. So how in the hell did Kevin order a Little Nero's pizza? And I'm sure it's a plain pizza, because that's the perfect pizza.
See, the way I interpreted it, when the storm first happened, we saw the technicians working on the line. We have confirmation the phone lines are down, right? And Kathleen O'Hara, the mom, calls the police department, and they're like, the phone lines are down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then a certain amount of time passes, and Kevin's able to order the pizza. So I just assumed that the cops were like, they tried the one time, they thought that she was a nut, and they didn't keep trying. So I just naturally assumed that the phone lines had been restored, but they didn't show us that. Is there visual confirmation that the phone lines had been down consistently after Kevin ordered the pizza?
That, and someone had to call the police at the end because they showed up pretty quick.
I don't recall. I wasn't looking for it, but I don't recall visual confirmation that the phone lines had never gone back up even for a little bit after that point. So I kind of feel like maybe there was they could have put it in the script. Oh, the phone lines are back. Now I can order a pizza.
Right.
And maybe they just said, it's too much. But that one to me does not stick out as a huge incongruity in logic. I've got a couple other ones for that.
And then Kevin's mom by that time's on a plane and in the box truck, not able to call. And the rest of the family doesn't have enough sense to keep trying to call. So
right, because they don't have cell phones.
Right.
So if you're in the back of a U-Haul, you have no way to call.
Right.
Yep. And I don't even think they had cell phones in the 90s, did they? Well, I guess they did.
No.
Yeah, they were stuck in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't have individual phones.
Yeah.
Seth had a giant one in the 80s.
Yeah.
He had it was like this big, and one hand was the phone, the other hand was a giant bag of Coke at all times through the entire decade.
Yeah, like Wall Street, like Michael Douglas on Wall
Hey,
Street.
what's up, Lee? Lee's here. Is that Lee like CLK Lee from All the Lives We Do? And what's
I'm
up,
not
Lee?
sure.
He's from
It
Pittsburgh.
says- Yep.
Hey.
So
all right.
Lee wanted to say hi. She's watching the broadcast. So
Cool. So, okay, so we think that, by the way, the part you're talking about in the back of the U-Haul, that's the one with John Candy? That part?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the best part.
Kinesia
That's the best
Cookers.
part of the movie. Yeah.
Kinesia Kickers. How do you say it?
They actually
He's awesome in that movie.
They actually sell. You can buy that jacket on Etsy.
Yeah.
And
No
I
way.
have been so tempted to get one, but it's like $100 some. But I think I'm gonna have to pull the trigger this year and get it and just get it because I think it'd be one. I would automatically be the coolest person in the world. But two,
You already are,
like,
Joe, and you're
well,
monetized, so money's no object. So just get it already. would you?
Right.
money is
Yeah.
no object. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe, that's like the best cosplay for one of your Christmas conventions.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that is actually a good idea.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, so
Andy,
think of the
didn't you have-
investment there.
Andy, didn't you
I-
have an IPO for Millionaire Playboy? Shouldn't Joe get a big payout anyway? He can get the jacket at least? Or you guys didn't have the IPO
Joe-
yet?
I don't know if Joe's told you this, the spoils that he's received from years of contribution to Millionaire Playboy. Joe's done very well for himself via Millionaire Playboy. So,
Good.
Yes.
As well he should. So congratulations to you two gentlemen. It's major success story.
all right. I'm trying to figure out how to move on from that. So, all right. Number 4. Do you think Uncle Frank was lying when he told Kevin he would grow up never feeling like a real man if he saw him naked in the shower?
I want to know, why didn't Frank lock the door? He just like Kevin walks in, there's a house full of people. Why isn't the door locked?
Yeah, so this is from Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, was Uncle Frank lying?
I think Uncle Frank was busting chops.
Yeah.
Right? I took it as he's saying, I am so beautiful of a man that if you saw me at this impressionable age, you will not grow up admiring or lusting after women the same way after you view me. I took it as kind of like an 80s, maybe not fly today type of joke. It's like Airplane, when the pilot's like, you ever been to a Turkish prison? You ever seen a grown man naked? It's kind of like that.
That's on the leg and rubs up and down. Yeah, it's great. It's this is from the second one.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is from
Okay.
the second one.
It's,
Seth,
You
you're
haven't
gonna have
seen
to
Seth,
watch.
correct?
You're gonna have to watch Home Alone 2, Seth. I think that's like your. I think that's a must.
So I did watch it ahead of this episode and realized I had never seen it in its entirety. I've seen like clips of it, but it was the first time I ever saw it was this past week. So it was all new to me. The reason I was excited for it, I was getting my daughter a new phone around the holiday season, and the guy who was helping us at this cell phone store, they had on the wall Home Alone 2. He was so transfixed with this movie, it took us about 4 hours to get the phone set up and checked out. Every time I walked in, he was watching it. I'm like, this has got to be the greatest movie ever, or he's the worst.
It's only a 90-minute movie.
Yeah, and it was like, and he had to rewind it. He wasn't following. He wanted to see what was up with Uncle Frank, and he was lying.
Yeah.
So Lee says, I think it's all Uncle Frank has left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All he can do is talk about how great he is to himself because nobody else will. So
I know.
he's just pumping his own ego up.
So one of the things I have to show is that I do have the
Oh, wow.
The toy from
Talk Boy.
Talk Boy from
Nice.
Home Alone 2.
Yes.
It does work. It's pretty amazing. It sounds like crap when you play back, but it still does work.
Have you foiled any robberies with it?
No, but I have booked a few
Yeah.
hotels.
For Christmas con, he hasn't paid ever. He puts it on his dad's card with that thing every year. The Edison Hilton.
Credit card, you got it. All right. So I guess what we're saying is Uncle Frank probably was lying. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Did the hookers in Central Park proposition Kevin for sex?
Oh my god! When that popped up, I thought somebody was sending me a message on my computer. I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not Kevin, lady. Sorry.
Let's set the scene.
the-
He's walking by. He's
the-
walking through
yeah.
the worst part of Central Park.
Mhm.
The hookers actually go, "Hey there, hi little boy," like and almost like, "You want to come with us?" It really freaked me out when I was watching this the other day, and I was like,
So
"That's
Interesting.
I remember the exact quote was, "Do you need somebody to read you a bedtime story?"
Wow.
So they were definitely hinting at in your bed, in pajamas, nighttime activities. But I don't think that they intended to have physical interaction. I think they were kind of like teasing him, like, "You're not ready for this, big boy."
But Uncle Frank
I don't know.
would have been. Uncle Frank was ready.
Yeah.
Uncle Frank would
this
have
is
it, yeah.
this is another joke that I think they would not include if they made this movie today.
Agreed.
Seth, when you
I
were
think they'd be
younger-
like, let's not joke about pedophilia. So
Right. Seth, when
Yeah.
you used to go to the Rambles, oh my, were you propositioned in the city? Oh.
I was just thinking, my dad, and maybe this is not free for this discussion, but
no.
my dad and I were propositioned in New York City. She seemed to have no problem with it and understood the dynamic. It was a father and son thing. And
How old were you?
what's that?
How old
I
were you?
was like 15 or so, 15 or 16.
Did everything
That's
happen
very
to you when
advanced
you
for
were like
15.
14 or 15 years old? It seems that way.
I was a couple years older, and I was with my dad too. So yeah, it was.
So I think basically I think what we're saying is they probably really weren't, but it's not fun to joke about either. So
Right,
I think
right.
that's.
It's-
Maybe,
I think Todd, you have something to say?
yeah, maybe they heard rumors about the kid renting the nice hotel room at the nice hotel in New York.
That
and-
is true.
You
I mean,
know.
geez, he's got a penthouse and he has all that
Yeah.
ice cream. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe
word's
they
going to
can
get
shake them
around.
down. Yeah, shake
know
them
the-
down for some money.
I know the main
Needs,
hotel staff has no
alone.
idea what's going on, but that doesn't mean like housekeeping or something doesn't, you know,
Right.
no.
Okay. All
All right,
right.
that's another good point. That's Todd from Christmas Clatter. You could hear "Be Someone's Christmas" from December 22nd episode. There you go,
He's
Todd.
been,
Yeah.
he's been doing this a lot longer than we have. So
I know.
yeah, he's
Wow.
all right. Numbers
Oh, Todd, you're an OG. I love it.
number 6.
I'm honored. Okay.
Why do the police in both films not give a crap about Kevin being home alone or lost in New York? They go to the house. They don't care. They can't. He's not answering. They're like, count your kids again.
Hmm.
He's lost in New York. His mom goes, he's lost in New York. Oh, we're very busy here doing our crossword puzzle while we sit in the police car. You know. So what is?
Are they-
What was up with Kevin?
are they not taking Catherine O'Hara seriously?
No, they're not.
Like, that's the common, right?
Yeah.
That's the common. You got cops in Chicago in a wealthy suburb, and you got cops in New York City, and both of them respond to Catherine O'Hara like, all right, this is not something we need to put any energy into. So I feel like she's giving off nut job vibes that they're like, this is not real.
It was a little
I don't know.
misogynistic because if the dad called, I feel like they would have taken it more seriously. But when the
Well-
mom called, they did.
Yeah.
They were very dismissive of her. So, and that
Well,
again
well,
wouldn't happen necessarily in a movie today.
Well,
Right?
in the first one, what would they have done with Kevin if they did see him home? You know, that's going to be a whole lot of extra work on, that close to Christmas. A lot of paperwork and all
they
this.
were gonna have a
And-
Christmas party. I mean, they
Yeah.
were getting ready for it. So maybe that's it. They're like,
And
I don't have time to deal
but
with
it's
this. I'm gonna
like,
come
yeah,
back."
if he's home, if he's alone, well, he's at his house. Just lock the doors. He'll be fine till the parents get back.
Right.
You know, and then in New York, it's like, oh, you're lost in New York. How many millions of people are here? We can't find one person.
There were a lot of people
They
roaming. the
did say
streets.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said it was they said you're looking for a needle in a haystack, lady.
Yeah.
Which I found like you're acknowledging it's a tough job,
Right.
and you could probably need some help. I
Right,
thought
right.
just because it was a tough job doesn't mean you should not do it. So
Right, 'cause your job is to find the proverbial needle in the haystack. That's literally part
Right.
of the description.
Well,
And
then they
Yeah.
needed to call
Serve and
Tommy Lee
protect.
Jones from The Fugitive or something like that,
Right.
to find him.
that's like if there were a murder and the cops were like, "I don't know, those murderers are really dangerous. I don't want to bother with them." So,
Oh. I'm sure that's happened.
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, especially in New
So
York.
essentially, we're saying that the cops don't want to do their job in New York, and they
No.
were going to go to a Christmas party in Chicago.
Yep. That's why Buzz became a cop in the first place.
Okay, so my final question is a question that I need is a ranking question, and I want
Wow.
you guys to tell me. Rank the parent from the worst to the best. We have Catherine O'Hara playing Kevin's mom. I can't remember the actor. His name plays Kevin's dad. We have Uncle Frank. We have Old Man Marley, and we have what's his name from John
Polka
Candy.
King, John Candy. Yeah.
Polka.
Okay, yeah. So if you remember, Kevin's parents leave him home alone.
Twice.
We have twice.
Mhm.
Well, they lose him the second time, but Uncle Frank is just Uncle Frank, and we know exactly what he does. Old Man Marley has a fight with his son and never talks to his kid again for 20 some years. And then John Candy's character leaves his kid in a funeral home with a dead corpse for hours. So, not exactly. The parents in these movies are actually, everybody's awful.
Yeah.
But who is the worst parent and who is the best?
Wow, this is the Mount Rushmore bad parenting right here, all in one movie. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
I think there's a
As
clear
an
winner.
outsider to this family, right? Given the evidence that we have, I always felt that Kevin's dad would take the best spot because he was concerned, but he tried to keep a even, what are the next steps? What do I got to do? Whereas the mom was like, oh my God, let's burn the village down to find the kid, screaming, very emotional. The dad was like, okay, I'm concerned about my son. I wish that he wasn't missing. How can we figure this out? How can we get to a solution? So in my head, I'm going to vote for the dad as the best. We can then argue who's the worst.
I will counter that, though. I actually think his dad is worse than his mom. Because his mom, while she is desperate and doing things, she does everything she can to get home to him.
Right, but it was a waste. It was a waste.
But she
But
doesn't
at
know
least
that.
she tried. is
She
what I
got
think
home
Joe was
like
saying, Joe. Yeah.
4 minutes before the dad. And she gave up her jewelry. She spent money. She didn't spend time with the rest of the family that she did have. I
That
consider her. I use that as an example of why not to freak out in real life. Look at the mom from Home Alone.
Yeah.
She freaked out, and what did she gain?
Yeah.
4
Andy,
minutes.
do you really
It-
use that as an example?
I have.
Yeah,
I have. Yes,
It's like
yes, I
that-
have.
It's like that guy that passes you like a maniac, and then you end up at the same stoplight at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
You're like, what was the gain? But we see her losses. She
Mhm.
traded in or sold her translator, the jewelry, the first class tickets. I mean, all this. There was a lot of sacrifice made, which sure, they're showing the love of a parent. But I think an even emotional response worked out better. That's why I say I won't fight you on that one. I think the
So
dad
you're
is a better
judging
parent than the mom.
quality of parenting based on how their efficacy in finding Kevin, not the amount of emotion and love and concern that they had for Kevin.
Correct. I think
Okay.
just having a lot of emotion for something is not always the best thing,
Right.
No.
right? Like
No.
like Old Yeller. Let's compare Kevin to Old Yeller.
I forgot
Yeah.
about
Well,
my
that's-
sound effects.
Oh, that would've been
Oh, you got
fun.
your soundboard.
I have to go. For me, the worst parent here is what's his name? Old man something.
Oh Lord, no.
And
Marley,
He's not
Old Man
worse by-
Marley.
Yeah.
I just
No,
have
no,
to
no,
say he's older. He's lived life. He knows how fast life goes by. Yet he's consciously decided to keep this grudge with his son and not make amends. The other two are reacting to a mistake. John Candy's son was safe, albeit in a weird situation. Frank is the crazy uncle, but we didn't see him actually being an outwardly bad father. But this guy's making a conscious decision over time. He's had time to ruminate and decided, I'm still going to be angry and hold this grudge with my son and not speak with him and let the passage of time ruin their relationship. That saddened me. That actually bummed
No,
me out
but-
a lot as a father.
But it was
Yeah.
the son that was angry. It was the son that was angry.
But what was he angry about? I don't
They
recall.
never did say. They never did say what it was.
I
over.
thought they were both responsible a little bit,
They had a
Yeah.
fight.
right?
Yeah, they had a fight, and the son, both were angry, but the son was the one remained angry. But
Right. But
Old
then
Man Marley
Kevin
was-
convinced
mhm.
Yeah, but Kevin convinced Old Man Marley to pick up the phone. He said,
And give him
"You
a
could
call,
call
yeah.
him and fix it." And
Yeah.
so I agree that the fact that Old Man Marley did not do that for 20 years, that was very crummy.
Yeah, but
You
when
know?
but his son, told him not to. So was he honoring what his son said?
Fair. Andy, it's like I always use this in real world. Don't be like Kevin's mom and freak out. Think it through,
Right.
and then make a plan.
Exactly.
And
That's what you
I think
do.
we're all in agreement here. I think, Old Man Marley didn't think. He was too emotional, and that clouded his judgment.
All right.
Yeah.
See? Terrible.
So what are we thinking then? What do you think? What do we think the order is?
So I'll throw this in there to see if this helps. I think with Uncle Frank, he's a crummy guy, but I think it's because it's other people's kids, right? Like I've seen him be fairly responsible with Fuller. In fact, in Home Alone 2, he notices Fuller drinking yet another soda, and he takes it away and says, "Hey, easy on the fluids there, Fuller." And so it's like he is monitoring, he is being kind yet firm. I think he has a problem extending that compassion to any other child.
Yeah, maybe he's the best.
So
But
I don't
He
wanna
never
see
lost
it.
his kids.
He named his
Yeah.
kid Fuller.
yeah.
Maybe his wife did that.
and I don't think any parent should call another kid a little jerk. Look what you did, you little jerk.
No, I agree.
So-
I think kids should be called jerks.
I prefer to call them what the French call les incompetents. I use that one in real life. I absolutely use that one in real life. I won't.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
What the French call les incompetents.
I love how Joe, 37 minutes in, remembered he had sound effects.
I know. It shows you how I'm just starting this though, so I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. Seth, what do you think? You're quiet here. Who's the worst dad here?
I'm running through my head. Yeah, I'd have to go with Uncle Marley. It's for all the years of absenteeism.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, there's two sides to it. But yeah. I don't know.
Yes, but the dad has to lead. He has to lead. What's his
think
thing here?
it's-
Oh, you have a comment.
Yeah, so I think Lee said they were broke. They spent all their money taking 27 people on vacation. So I think she's
That would
referring
do
to-
it.
I think she's referring to Kevin's parents, but that's actually kind of nice that they're taking the whole family.
Well,
And
it's actually Kevin's uncle paying for the vacation.
no, it's Kevin's parents because the uncle doesn't pay for anything.
No, the uncle in France
Oh,
that they're going to go see is paying
was
for
it
it.
that? Was that
Oh,
uncle?
really? Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think you might. Yeah, you might be right. I can't remember that. But anyways, okay. So, are you guys saying Uncle Frank is the best parent? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
John Candy.
Nope.
I mean, being raised by a corpse isn't so bad. He's a fantastic listener. He's always there for you. I mean, this isn't the worst scenario.
But he's
if you
not
think
there
about
for
it.
his kid. He's now on the road all the time playing poker.
But he left him with the corpse, who was an unwavering eye, fantastic listener, always there for him. So there are benefits of having a corpse watch your kid. That's all I'm saying. And this is coming from someone who was raised in I was raised in a crematorium. So
At the end of the day, I will not concede that Uncle Frank is better than Kevin's dad. I will die on that hill. Kevin's dad is a better parent than Uncle Frank. I need to leave on that. But also, now look, I have started a new position at my job in like the last 2 years, and I now travel a lot. And sometimes I have to make sacrifices, with family time to go and travel. I think John Candy could have done a better job not planning travel over Christmas to be
Right.
away from the family. We all have to make sacrifices. We all have to make choices. I think he could have done a better job. So I give him down points for that one.
fair.
I'm going to go with Frank as the best because he's the only one that hadn't done anything rotten to his kids.
That's
So,
fair.
so-
And there was proof.
I
of him
mean,
being
he was able to travel to Paris and to Florida and keep all his kids in tow.
That's
And,
true.
But he didn't have to pay for it. He didn't pay
and then
for
he
it.
saw, and then in the second one, he saw through Buzz's, fake apology after the school choir or church choir incident thing, and Kevin's mom and dad were like completely buffaloed and
That was funny.
gaslight
That was funny.
by Buzz. So I'd
So-
go Frank. I'd go Frank, Kevin's dad, Kevin's mom. Nope, I'd go Frank, then John Candy, because he only left his kids for like one night.
Right, with a corpse, which is fun.
And
It
not
was
twice.
overnight,
So
yeah.
then, so I go Frank and then John Candy, then Kevin's dad, mom, and then Marley.
So Lee says the best parent is the lady in the grocery store who actually asks questions, concerned about Kevin. She's right, I think.
Yeah.
And that was just a teenage girl, I think, or a very early 20s. So I think she's right about that. So why don't we do one by one, get everybody's opinions, and then we'll just go from there. So Chad, we'll start with you. Give me the order.
Okay. Worst Old Man Marley. Second worst is the dad, followed by the mom, followed by Uncle Frank, followed by John Candy. I think we all agree it's been a fantastic show, guys. Wonderful meeting you all. Great one, and that's a wrap.
Seth,
All right. We're going what, best to worst?
worst to best.
Well, worst to best. Worst, Uncle Marley.
There you go, Seth. You'll back me
And
up.
then, what's that?
I said, you'll back me up. That's family.
and then I think the dad.
There you go. Seth, you get it wrong, you're out of the will, so keep going.
Nice. And then I have to say Uncle Frank, and then mom, and then John Candy's character.
Todd, do you want to reiterate what you said?
Yeah. I'd put Marley at the bottom, and then Kevin's mom, and then Kevin's dad, and then John Candy, and then Frank is the best.
Okay. And then
Oh, it's
Andy.
the best.
I don't agree with any of this. I will concede that Old Man Marley is the worst for allowing 20 years to go by.
Okay.
I will then say Uncle Frank is the next worst. He's a crummy guy. He is selfish.
He's still.
I don't think he's a great guy. Yeah,
Right.
he's
Not a good uncle, that's for sure. He's a terrible uncle.
he's a terrible uncle, but he's also like a terrible human being, right? Like he's not a great human being. His interactions with other adults, he is a grumpy guy, and I think he lacks a filter. So anyway, he's my second worst. Then I'm gonna say, I'm having a hard time because I want to say Kevin's dad's number one. So right now, what I'm wrestling with is John Candy or Catherine O'Hara. Who's worse? I think. I'm going to give it to Catherine O'Hara for being emotional in a good way and,
she cared
and
at least.
steadfast.
Okay.
I'm going to give her, but it's too much. So I'm going to give her number two, and then say John Candy is right in the middle. I think he means well. He's a good human being, but he prioritizes wrong and makes mistakes. So that's why I put him in the middle. Like I think he should have prioritized family time over traveling in the back of U-Haul. He's made some mistakes with leaving the kid in the funeral home. But I don't think he's a terrible human being. I think he's just made some mistakes and needs to refocus.
Okay. I actually think I agree. Out of all of your lists, I think I agree closest with Andy, but I would switch because I think Catherine O'Hara is probably the best parent. She's the only one who does anything she can to get home to her kid. She made a mistake. Yes, she forgot about him, but she was stressed. But she did everything she can. I feel like his dad was kind of like, she's taking care of it.
Well, can I say what would be one better than really caring and trying to get home to your kids? By that metric, Uncle Frank didn't even lose his kids. So
That's what I
he
said.
would be a better parent. Yeah, he would be a better parent. So
All right. Well, I think we've heard enough things, but I think we all kind of agree. Uncle Frank and Marley are probably the worst ones. It seems like for the most part. just based on on your score. But I think there's a mixture of where exactly they lie. But yeah, so
Yeah.
okay.
I think after hearing all that deliberation, we can agree we all have too much time on our hands. I think that's probably a
Yes,
consensus.
I think that's probably
Yeah.
that is actually the ultimate conclusion.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that
The 3 days that follow, we're mulling this over. I'm like, I don't know.
I did double check. Uncle Rob did pay for the flights to Paris.
okay?
Oh,
Well, Uncle Rob's got a lot of money, so cool. Well, hey guys, I want to give you some opportunity to promote your shows. Chad and Seth, you want to tell us where you can find your show and a little bit about it?
yeah,
That's a
you
great.
know, if you're going to listen to a podcast, forget us. Listen to Todd's Christmas Clatter, the October 26th episode, Grizzly Adams Morph with Kenny Rogers. Fantastic. If you're really bored and want to check us out, Christmas Cousins podcast. I am a Christmas enthusiast. I take my cousin Seth through the journey of the seasons. We do it all. He had his first eggnog tasting, his first It's a Wonderful Life, his first everything. He's now on a journey meeting someone. We're following his dating. If you're not listening, you don't know what you're missing. It's wonderful. And I'm going to leave him in a hotel in New York, and then I'm going to record all of what happened. So stay tuned, gentlemen. Thank you. That's Christmas Cousins podcast, 23 million daily listeners on average.
So Todd,
Hey, yeah, I do a Christmas Clatter. Right now, we take a little bit of a break. I'll be back in May for an episode to cover the Hallmark Dream Book and all the new ornaments, and then be back for Christmas in July to take us through until the end of the holiday season 2024. Just wherever ChristmasClatter.com will get you to all the socials and YouTube and all that good stuff. And also Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I join my friend Ken Smith, who also does the North Pole News Dispatch, and we do On the Porch. It's a podcast where me and Ken get together and just talk with no agenda or anything, and you can join the conversation on YouTube, and that's called On the Porch.
Oh, that's fun. I'll check
Cool.
that out.
so
Joe, what is
okay.
that? What is that comment there? I can't read it. It's blurry on my screen. Let's all take a listen.
It says Seth's journey is top notch.
Right, Lee. That's right, Lee.
That's great. We can
And
discuss
Andy-
that another.
And so Andy, why don't you talk about your podcast that you guys just launched today?
We
Congratulations.
just launched today. Thanks.
Nice.
It's called Comment. It's called Comment Lounge. If you go to commentlounge.com, you can find there's a YouTube video, and then we also made an audio version if you're driving and don't want to watch. But there we have all the video clips and the visuals. So all of that is available to subscribe, to like. And the number one thing about our podcast, so we talk about cinema, art, photography. We're three professional photographers. We're always talking about movies and art. And we're like, why shouldn't we record this? But we want people to comment. We are inviting comments. So we've got a subreddit, we've got the Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got YouTube. Go ahead and tell us what we screwed up. Tell us what you disagree with. And none of our opinions are like this is the end all be all. Everything is supposed to be a launching point of conversation. So commentlounge.com, that has the audio, the video. We've got first episode came out today. We're gonna try to have another episode once a week for a while. We've got a couple in the can ready to go. So
Sounds
that's what we like to
painful.
discuss. Yeah. And then I did want to say, Joe and I launched Millionaire Playboy 21 years ago on 03/03/03. And we talked about pop culture, and we had a great time. We went to Toy Fair many, many times in New York City in the snow. And so I try to keep the fires going. Every now and then I come up with a cool 3D print and like talking about pop culture stuff. Try to keep it going. But
Congrats,
that's
Andy. I will check that out. That's awesome. Congratulations. Very cool.
Yeah.
Fun journey. Good luck.
Yes, well, I want to thank all you guys for joining me. This is my first official episode. We already did one premiere just to test how to make sure this thing works. It seems to work, except I keep forgetting about sound effects and all sorts of fun things, which I need a Fred Norris, I guess, off to the side to do all that.
Yeah. So I had a major Home Alone 2 complaint, and I was waiting to see if it came up. So we know it's the 90s, right?
Mhm.
In the movie, when the Sticky Bandits chase Kevin to the uncle's under construction house, and Kevin's up on the roof throwing down bricks,
Yeah.
They decide to negotiate with him and say, hey, throw us the camera and we won't shoot you. But in the movie, it was a Polaroid camera. But there was nothing to gain from getting the camera. So then I thought maybe in the script, it was a camera that had film inside because they wanted the evidence, right? That was very clear. They wanted that evidence. So it's like maybe in the script, they wrote a camera. And then the prop master provided a Polaroid because it was visually better. No. In the script, they look at the Polaroids and remark how good they look. So they knew it was a Polaroid. They knew that obtaining the camera as their number one bargaining chip had no bearing on the evidence going to the police. And I'm like, what the heck? So that was my big complaint.
Although
That's the only logical fallacy.
They do show faulty reasoning throughout both
Yes.
movies. So that goes along
Do they
with
always?
it.
Hey, it was.
Well-
That was the one. Yeah, that was the one thing I couldn't get over. Everything
Well,
else,
how many bricks to the head did they get before they asked?
6 or 7.
Oh,
But
that's
no,
why they asked for the cameras. They get too many
No,
bricks to the
that
head.
was just Marv. Marv was the only one that got the bricks. So
I
don't know.
would have eventually
I just-
gotten to that question, but I think it was
Yeah.
more important to figure out if Uncle Frank was lying or not. I mean,
Yeah.
truth be told,
I gotcha.
you know.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more important.
Maybe
How many
it's
bricks was he packing? That was the main question. That's right.
yeah. Maybe it's triggered
So-
head injuries from the first time they interacted.
That's true. Right.
I-
They did CTE.
I really enjoyed talking to you guys. But I need one quick on our podcast. I'm going to plug it one more time. On our podcast comment lounge, we end the episode with a lightning round question. So it's like, here's the question. You got to give me the answer right away. What is your number one Christmas movie? Because I think that would give me some information about you and your personality and make it easier for me to judge you.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Christmas Vacation.
For many years, it was a Christmas Story, but I think up until this year, is It's a Wonderful Life now. Yeah.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Gremlins.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
Nice.
Dory's Tavern. Gremlins is the number one Christmas movie.
Gremlins has the funniest yet saddest story about a dad trying to be Santa Claus.
About Santa Claus, right?
okay. Well,
That
hey,
was the only
guys.
Christmas movie of 1984 was Gremlins.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, thanks guys for joining.
Thanks for having
thanks
us.
for
Yeah,
people who've
thank
been
you.
watching.
Yep. Oh,
We
I
actually
got
had some
I got one thing I
people-
need to say about Home Alone.
Okay. All right.
The first Home Alone, the guy that does the mall Santa or whatever, one of the best Santas on film, hands down.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Better
Why do you say
than,
that?
than
It just
Just as a Santa, he's a great Santa. He took time to listen to the kid, you
Okay.
know, and gave him
Tic
and lend
Tacs,
him his ear. Yeah, and he didn't, rush him off or anything. So as
Right.
a Santa or someone playing a Santa, one of the best in film.
Interesting. Okay.
Has all the traits of a good Santa.
I counter with Billy Bob Thornton.
All right, well, with that being said, I think we're going to end the show. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for you guys for joining. We're going to end this here, and thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.